since the year 2021. Thank you. Yep, we're going to say the American Creed. Oh, we stand for the American Creed. I believe in
The United States of America, the government of the people, by the people, for the people. Just powers derived from the consent of the government, democracy and republic, a sovereign nation, several states, a perfect union, one and separate, established upon those principles, freedom, equality, justice, and humanity, for which American patriots sacrificed their lives and fortunes. I therefore believe my duty to my country's beloved, to support its Constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, and defend it against all enemies.
Thank you, everyone. Well, do we have anybody for public comment? Next, Randy, as we're sitting here tonight, we do not have a quorum.
Do not.
Enough people. So for those that may be watching right now, we can take input from agenda items, but we cannot vote on.
Sure, you can't convene a meeting essentially.
Yep. Okay. So, with that being said, items 4 through 5, which is the consent agenda, donations, is irrelevant until the next meeting. Next is mayor's comments, and with the mayor's comments, a couple of items for those that are watching. First is this week we are having a week-long sales tax holiday, and that's from Sunday, August 17th through Saturday, August 23rd. And with that holiday, retail purchases of most clothing and footwear items priced under $100 are exempt from the Connecticut sales tax. The exemption applies to each eligible item costing under $100, even if those items are purchased in the same transaction. So what that means is you could buy yourself, if you have a family of four pairs of shoes, $99 each, all totaled at once. That still qualifies per category item under $100, even if it's all totaled at the same time. As you can see, the heat index was up today. It'll be even hotter tomorrow through Thursday. The hottest days being Wednesdays and Thursdays, with the index being over 100 with humidity. We had our cooling centers open today. We will have them open through Thursday, starting here at Town Hall at 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. And I have had some people say, Pete, why are you opening cooling centers at 7 o'clock in the morning? It's not that hot yet. Well, if you have a home that doesn't have air conditioning, the heat inside the house is a lot. And at least you can get out in the morning and come here and cool off. The library will be open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Loaves and Fishes opens at 4 p.m. And also for the seniors only, our senior center will be open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. As we're getting near the first day of school, Dr. Parlato's here as well. Housatonic Valley Health District is having the opportunity for physicals that we're having at Pettibone on the 13th and the 14th. You can call the district at 203-264-9616 to make an appointment. So thank you to Amy and the district for providing that service. Also, a big thank you to everyone that came out last week for our Purple Heart ceremony. And those are to honor those brave servicemen and women. And, which I did not know, Mayor, that they also have given some animals a Purple Heart, which I did not know. New Milford? Not New Milford, but as a nation. I want to thank American Legion Commander Jim Delancey for his words. Buck Oviatt did a great job for the national anthem, and everyone that attended. So big thank you. Congratulations to New Milford cricket player 12-year-old Sucha Rayo, as she was selected for the USA Cricket U.S. Girls 15 National Cricket Team. And she's actually now down there in Dallas, Texas. So congratulations to her. Great job. Quickly on some infrastructure programs that we have going on right now. Erickson Road is the contractor's beginning drainage program there. Some of the work. Right now we're doing a big, huge, I think 30-inch outfall pipe by 4 Erickson Road. Then we're going to be moving on with some other drainage work there. The Van Car bridge replacement is today they did they installed the concrete form liner and rebarb for the northwest wing wall. Sand Road Bridge replacement project as they continue drilling holes in preparation for the pile driving. Our new Milford sidewalk project update, the contractor installed the actual bus shelter in front of the United Methodist Church, which is near the intersection of Pickett District and Route 7. And we're going to continue to put out some more of these shelters, and then also apply for a grant with Hart Transportation to do the ones that we couldn't do through this project. Carlson's Grove Playground Replacement Project. Most of the structures are up. Now we're going to be spreading mulch for the kids to enjoy a new playground at Carlson's Grove. Skyview Drive, the contractor began work on Schuyler Drive, started with curb removal, traffic control signs, setting setback stakes as we'll begin drainage work on Skyview there. The Lanesville Firehouse Expansion Project, that started. The contractor's clearing and grubbing along the southern property line as we get ready for that project. Reservoir Dam, as you know, we gave American Relief funds for that. The contractor had some divers going down. We located some of the pipes at the bottom and I think towards the middle of the dam as well. So they're working on some of those to seal them, and they're looking to, I guess, increase, and we'll have Jack Healy come to the next meeting, talk a little bit more about that, but increase the wall a little bit for additional volume of water. But I'll let him explain that more. New Milford Police statistics, motor vehicle stops. We talk about this at each and every meeting. In the year 2024, this time in 2024, we had 2,485 stops. In the year 2025, we have 3,290. That's an increase of 805 or 32%. Motor vehicle accidents in the year 2024, we had 536. Most importantly, we talk about this again, just for data as importance, 84 were in parking lots. In the year 2025, we had 553. Of those 553, 103 were in parking lots. So we talked about before, it's a lot of people that are using our resources here in New Milford but don't live here. If you were to take the parking lots out of it, we would be actually less 2 accidents year prior. So, you know, as we're seeing increased activity and speeding all over the country, you just have to Google and you'll see where there's all sorts of unfortunate accidents, speeding. Thank you to the Milford Police Department for continuing their efforts to reduce traffic speeding, and that's all making sure that accidents, especially serious ones, become less and less. Also, DUIs in the year 2024, we had 40. With this extra enforcement, we are up to 55 this time year over year, so we're up 15 from before. We're also going to be working with the Brookfield Police Department to do some different traffic stops together. We'll be talking more about that with the chief in September. So a big thank you again to Chief Cerruto and the New Milford Police Department. Our crash car has been going around in different areas to continue to create the awareness. And you may have seen on some of the roads, and then we'll be doing more of those, especially down on Housatonic Avenue, you're actually going to see writing on the roads themselves. The one on Housatonic talks about a lower bridge to, again, create awareness. We're going to put those on different roads. Grove Street is going to be one of them, Pickett District. We're telling people to slow down, trying all sorts of different ways to create the awareness and slow down traffic. Staying on with the Milford Police Department, this past week our police department again was at the First Light Properties, which is at Fisherman's Cove, which is up in Gaylordsville, and also at Dykes Point. Again, we saw lots of people trying to come in with grills and were turned away. As First Light has said, there's no swimming in these areas and there's no grilling in these areas. So we were making sure to tell people that you can come in and enjoy it, whether it be for, fishing, kayaking, whitewater rafting, all those good things, as long as you have the safety equipment on. But swimming and grilling is prohibited in these areas. So we're going to continue to monitor these river course areas, as long as the other river areas that we have here as well, whether it be the Bleachery Dam, River Road areas, all those, to make sure that we have a safe, enjoyable space for people to use the Housatonic River in a more safe manner, respectable in a recreational way. Unfortunately, there was a 6-year-old this past Friday that drowned in Stratford in the Housatonic River. And it's just very important that we all continue to create the awareness that these river courses in certain areas, New Milford being one of them, is not a place to swim. It is very dangerous, and we don't want anyone to drown in the river. But like I said before, great place to fish, kayak, canoe, wonderful spots. Bird watching, great spots. Quick PSA, if your child's interested in scouting, Cub Scout Pack 467 is having their first meeting of the year at Harrybrook Park on Tuesday, September 2nd at 6:30 p.m. Get a great chance to see what scouting's all about for whether it's your son or your daughter or grandchild. Scouting is a great opportunity for them. Also, a big thank you to the United Way as they distributed backpacks. I believe it was over 240, I think, backpacks with school supplies to those in need. Just wanted to thank Councilwoman Francis, all the volunteers and sponsors for their efforts. We also had a bike day with Walmart, and Walmart was doing a grand reopening. I'll talk a little bit more about it with economic development, but they gave us a grant for bikes for kids in need, so it's great to hand out those bikes during that day as well. This Friday, the 15th, from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Honeybee Books, is Peter J. O'Brien, the author, is going to be hosting a presentation and book signing for his book, which has to do with the story of Sarah Noble and her father, John, two of New Milford's original settlers. So if you get a chance, come down and see that wonderful author, and he can sign a book for you. I want to thank the band Pentamore and Liam Cooley, as we had our first ever band teen night, which was a week from Sunday last night, and it was great to see those performances. And thank you to Jason O'Connor, our New Milford Youth Agency Director, Brian Hembrook, Maria Leo, and Pat from my office, Pat Hembrook, as we made this first teen band night. Seeing all those young kids come out there was great, and we're going to make it even a little bit bigger next year as well. Village Center of the Arts had their gallery opening for artist Alyssa DeGorio, and it's still over there if you'd like to take a look and see that wonderful artist and all the work that she has done there. So that was great news, and that's pretty much what I have for Mayor's comments. Oh, sorry, Alex.
Loaves and Fishes has an ending time of 5:30, so 4 to 5:30 for
Yes,
the cooling.
thank you.
Okay, and the other thing is, you mentioned that people don't have air conditioning, they're not sleeping in a cool environment. That's absolutely true. Your body needs to get down to a lower temperature, so everybody needs to be aware of that. It's very, very dangerous if your body can't get cooled off at least a little bit of the day. So, I know firsthand.
Thanks, Alex. Next, we have the Board of Education. So I know some of the council had some questions for Dr. Parlato and the board. And Doctor, if you'd like to come up and talk a little bit about it, even though we cannot vote tonight, but at least this could be on the record. For those in the council, we prepared the packets and sent the information. Dr. Parlato and Tom, also from the Board of Education.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to summarize mostly from the memo that was sent to the town council last week. And there were 3 questions that were presented to us. One had to do, let me back up a step. This has to do with the capital reserve withdrawal request that the Board of Education has made. There were 3 questions that were provided. One was about plans and specs for the central office upgrades. The second question was about a description of student furniture that was listed on the capital reserve withdrawal. And then a copy of the policy for tracking students' and parents' responsibility for Chromebooks. So all those things were explained in detail to the council within the memo. I'll summarize a few of those things now. So the Board of Education requested $150,000 for central office upgrades. That entails 2 offices that we have at present do not have any privacy for those employees. They are employees that require privacy as part of their work. So we do require some plans and drawings that go along with how we can make those spaces have some privacy. So we can't give you plans and specs because they don't exist yet, because we need the money, part of this money, to get the drawings for those confidential spaces. So I know the request was specifically for plans, but we have to have the money first. Additionally, we will make some additional renovations and upgrades to the space with what remains of the $150,000 following the drawings that we'll get. If we divide up some offices per code, we'll have to revise some of the fire suppression, some of the HVAC, some of the lighting, and some of the electrical. So that's another piece of what that $150,000 would be used for. And then we will also use some of that money for tile upgrades throughout the central office area. As I mentioned in the memo, 1 room of brand new tile is about $7,500. So, and of course, we're dealing with commercial grade materials and labor that goes with that. So that's why things tend to be more expensive than you might expect at first blush. Of course, I think it's important to mention our goal, which is to make sure that we have not only confidential spaces for employees who have confidential discussions, but also we want to make sure that we have a modern office space for the people who work for the Board of Ed. That seems to be an important thing to all of us, and it's also a representation of our community. So I'd never want to lose sight of that, and so that's really the reason for that request for $150,000. Next is the student furniture. So student desks and classroom activity tables are really things that we use the most in the district, obviously. And so many of those desks are, they age over time. They get a lot of use, they get constant use. And so, for example, a desk itself is about $325. And then there's sometimes shipping that's included with that. The activity tables that we're asking for, again, kind of making a rotation to replace those things, are about $225 each. So that's the reason that there's a $30,000 request for student furniture. The Chromebook policy we have on the books, 4118.4. That is very detailed in terms of how we manage Chromebooks in the district. I fear that it may have been characterized as a little bit of a haphazard process, and what is true is the exact opposite of that. So in the memo, we explain how we use asset tags, how we have an entire inventory of every single Chromebook. By the way, we have over 4,000 of them in the school district. And we're able to make sure that no one's able to log onto it unless it's a student with a New Milford Public Schools address. So if it happened to get stolen or lost, somebody just can't go in and use that Chromebook because it's assigned to the domain of New Milford Public Schools. I included a picture of an asset tag, and I also included the recovery amounts for the past 3 years if a student's Chromebook became lost. And that was for a total of $16,810 for total for the last 3 years. So we have a very, very clear process in place. The policy is detailed and tells us and families exactly how we handle the repairs and what we do with our Chromebooks. I think it's also important to note that we're lucky that we have IT techs in each of our schools, They have become very proficient in repairing Chromebooks themselves, so we don't have to send them out, which is much more expensive. So they know how to fix screens now, they know how to fix the keyboard if the keyboard doesn't work, and all those things save the district a tremendous amount of money. Those were the 3 questions that we were asked. And those are the details contained within the memo.
Thank you, Dr. Parlato. Does anybody from town council have any questions? Going once? Going twice? Going 3 times?
I have a question
Alex?
for you, though.
Yep,
Now we've had the presentation. The next meeting will be the vote, correct?
correct.
Are we expecting another presentation?
Just for me, what I would suggest is this is being videoed now. I would suggest that if people have questions, to take a look at the video of the presentation. And I was gonna talk about this, Alex, after our next items, but I would see in polling the members that are here currently now, see if we could have a special meeting in 2 weeks, because we only have one in August. Have a special one to see if we could get a quorum and finish the business tonight in August.
Okay, instead of a month from now.
Yes, ma'am.
I was worried about the items on the list. So, but that would require that no one need to come from the superintendent's
Correct.
office again on this subject? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next is register of voters. So we have Sandro and Chris.
I'll do it. Chris Ludwig, 40 Railroad Street.
Sandro Barolo, 34 Johnson Road.
How you want to start?
Okay.
Any questions?
Yep, so if you guys could kind of tell the council and those that are watching
Yep.
what the intent is. So the intent is to go from, we have 8 polling districts, correct?
Yeah, for
budget
referendums, there's the 8 normal polling districts.
And your suggestion is to go down to 1.
Yeah, which is fairly common around the other towns. Well, most towns don't have as many polling districts as ours, even when they're similar population sizes. For some reason, we have 8. Each of those 8 cost a lot of money, just in labor. I mean, the election as a whole is around, what was it, 23,500 is the kind of average that it costs per election. And that's like a referendum election costs just as much as a general election. Has the same like staffing requirements. We have to order just as many ballots, even though sometimes only 400 people show up. We still have to order the number of ballots based on the population in the last general election. So it could be like 10,000 ballots, but we might use 400. But statutorily, you have to do that. The new machines have a lot of maintenance costs involved, but in general, this will offset a lot of that. It'll be much lower labor costs. It goes from that 23,500 down to 4,000 for the single location. Even if we have to hire more people, it would still be obviously vastly less money to put on. Setting up the location, we would have more than likely would have 4 separate tabulator machines set up, and people would be putting their votes in all 4 of those machines, so the lines themselves would go just as fast or faster than they would be in a normal single polling location. Even if we did have the 4,000 person turnout, more often, even if it was the average, I think the highest it's been was that's first of the last referendums, but that's an anomaly historically. The second referendum was closer to what some of the higher turnouts were in the past. And yeah, ask me a question, sure.
So typically, how much does it cost to run a referendum for a budget? If you had all the polling,
Overall, it's about $24,000.
24, and what do we have, 8 or 9 total?
8 districts total.
We have 8?
Yes.
So how much money would that save? If we went down?
19,000 and change, I think, is what it would be. Yeah.
And where would that money go?
It would be rolled back into the increased costs we have from the new tabulator, mostly the maintenance contracts from the new tabulators. and just roll back in general, like with cost of ballots and like that have gone up with we have to use a different printer than we did in the past. And
So
this
when
would
you
offset,
presented-
it basically would offset a bunch of that
So when you
increase.
presented the budget this year, you presented it with having all the polls open, correct?
Correct,
All right,
yeah, yeah.
so there would be
Yeah,
some
this would
money
be
left
something
over.
happening next year,
Right.
so. It's like next year's budget is technically this year's budget, but yeah, it's factored for all 8 for this one. so.
Right. My only concern is, other than, you know, obviously you mentioned other towns do it, is that New Milford is so big.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And the convenience of having, you know, some people can't get, I guess we're talking about Pettibone, would probably be the central
Correct, yeah,
location.
sorry, I didn't mention that, it would be a
So,
Pettibone,
You
yeah.
know, from Pettibone to Gaylordsville or Pettibone going up to Northville, it can be 12, 15, 18 miles for some people
Sure.
getting there. So that would be the only concern I would have. Obviously, we all want to save money, but I would be
Yeah, that
worried about
was
the
one of our
turnout.
major concerns, that was our main concern, was
Right.
that extra distance would be the main pushback for it.
Because typically, if you had it at Pettibone, just say hypothetically, most of the people around Pettibone voted, but you couldn't get the voice of the other people, I would think that they would be kind of prohibited from being.
Well,
able
most
to
of the people
vote.
around Pettibone are people from Gaylordsville now because of the way our redistricting, you know, how that system worked back then in 2022. A pretty big chunk of Gaylordsville people ended up at District 3, so they already voted Pettibone, or Oddfellows, yeah. They're gonna have to go an 8/10 of a mile more.
Now,
But-
how many typical, on an average, you guys would probably know better than me, on a budget referendum?
Usually budget referendums.
How many
are
people show up to vote? on an average?
1,700 is the norm.
So you would add extra
2018,
machines
we
there?
had 2,300, and the second referendum, we had 2,800. That one referendum, we had over 4,000. But historically, their numbers aren't even half of that. And that's one of the main things that started us. Until this big turnout one referendum, we were looking, it's just, the line's going down and down. Our voter registration is going higher, but our turnout for referendums goes down.
And just one last question. Now you want to go from 8 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any other in between? Go from 8 to 4? And how much cost would that
for
save?
polling locations in
Yeah.
general? We could theoretically bring down the number of polls to probably 6 without any major shifts in things.
Okay.
But that's like, we got another 8 years before we can do that. There's like every 10 years, I think it is. Yeah, we can do a redistrict, yeah.
Right. But
We
you
just did the one in
You can only go
2022.
from 8 to 1, you can't go 8 to 4? Is that what I'm correct in saying?
No, because we have the 2 districts that cause the redistricting. We have the 2 new ones. We have District 8.
Right.
And we have a reshuffling of a couple of the other districts to add the new district, is it 69 was the new one? Yeah, 108 and 69. We
Yeah.
had to add, and they're multi-town districts, so we can't,
Yeah, that would be
get
my
rid of
only
them.
concern is that, you're going from 8
Yeah, that's
to
the
1.
reason we ended up with 8.
Inconvenience for people as opposed to having to go all the way down to Pettibone. That would be my
Yeah.
only concern.
And the problem up especially in Gaylordsville, there's like pretty much no other place you can do it other than the firehouse. There's like it's not really, I don't think there's any municipal buildings up there. There might be some warehouses that might have a big enough space, but nothing we can use for a polling location.
Alex?
Yeah, my question is, which polling location now receives the most number of votes for a referendum?
That would be probably either District 5 or 1. They're probably pretty close to each other, yeah.
So Scattercode.
Yeah, Scattercook, yeah. One of the ways we could consolidate the polls down in general would be to take like Northville and Scattercook and make it a single polling location. Because they're literally like this far away from each other. Yeah, but they both have high turnouts, so we would have to, do a lot of arranging. But that's something that's could only happen like about 8 years from now.
But with regard to the referendum
Yeah.
going from 8 to 1, I think what you were looking at was what if it goes for referendum to 4, not 1? So that you can still,
It probably could be done, it'd probably be fairly complicated, and it would require
Because to-
having multiple districts in a single location.
right, and then explaining it to everybody.
And that would be harder to explain
Who's
in
used to
like
going
a
on
mailer
this?
charter to explain.
It's hard now.
Yeah. Like now we're just going to be telling you to go to one spot, like everybody to go to one spot.
That'd be much easier.
Randy, a quick question, overview question. So if I'm a resident in Gaylorsville, or if I'm a resident, I'm just picking them up, down on Pumpkin Hill to the far side by the Brookfield line, or I'm in Northville by New Preston, and you've now moved the district to one central district, do I have a case where now you are now limiting my ability to go to a voting poll?
Had that question in Waterbury. You represent Waterbury, Waterbury district. The answer is no, because it's not considered a disenfranchisement. As long as the polls are open, minimum statutory time. The problem you have is that it's a legislative act. The legislative body has to make the determination to redivide.
Yeah.
And that means public hearing, and you're gonna have to hear all the discussions like that, saying, I can't get down there from Gaylordsville, or something like that.
Mayor,
But the answer to your question is no, it's not disenfranchisement.
parking. How the heck are you going to fill the parking slots that's going to be for that one
Say it
day?
again?
You're taking 8
Oh.
polling locations and you're putting them at
Well, I
John
mean, with
Pettibone.
the existing
in a
polling
one-day
locations,
period.
official parking,
And the traffic coming through this town on that one day
Yeah.
going to John Pettibone would be a nightmare.
even if we, well, I don't think we'd have to hire a cop because it's the only location that has more parking than all the current polling locations. If you
Well,
took
count
all
how-
the parking, all the current
Count how
polling
many
locations-
parking spots you've got down there at John Pettibone on any
Yeah.
given day. You've got agencies down there that
Sure.
are going to be working on those days.
Yep. One of the
Don't ha-
things we're considering suggesting,
Right.
which might be more difficult to get through, is one of the ways to hopefully
what-
improve turnout. It's
what
not
I'm
on here
seeing-
because we talked about it afterwards, was to hold it on a different day.
What I'm seeing as a devil's advocate is a lot of accidents going to be happening on Pickett District or
The
Route
reason
7.
we have cops at Oddfellows, even though it's a very low turnout location, we have to pay a couple $1,000s, I think, each election to have the cops be there. And when you go into there, that whole parking lot is like a couple spaces at Pettibone, you know?
Well, I guess for the last 6 or 7 years, I've been up at Scotticoke and Northville. And the traffic flow into those two locations for that 10-hour or 12-hour period is a heavy flow of traffic.
Sure.
And it's going to, now you're putting 8 into 1.
Yeah, I think that location, especially during early voting, was a good example of that. We had during early voting, like 600 people,
Right.
Each day.
And playing devil's advocate
Sure.
on this, is it going to be a situation where a number of people are going to say, the hell with it, I'm not going to go vote. I'm not going to get tied up in this traffic jam down at John
That may
Pettibone.
be true. I mean, a lot of people in town already don't bother going out to vote at the referendum, even though their property taxes
Now we add
depend
on,
on it.
now we add on to
So
that.
it's-
With
Yeah,
that new
it's-
law too, the absentee ballot law, anybody can request an absentee ballot?
Yeah, they have like a lot of ways to vote without leaving their house. Even during referendums, we do absentee ballots. One of the things we're hoping to do to increase turnout in general for those, besides, I think this consolidation, to me, I think will end up increasing turnout. We want to work with the various organizations in there during the referendum day to have them put on stuff, even Girl Scout cookies or whatever. Have them be there to attract people without taking a ton of parking spaces up.
I think this is something you need to do a public hearing on.
And another
Sure,
thing,
yeah, it needs a public hearing, sure.
it can be held in any day of the week.
Yes.
Minimum hours are 8 hours, could be like from 9 to 5 or 8 to 5.
Yeah, the state has a minimum hours, but we've just traditionally done it on the normal election day. For a lot of people today have 2 or 3 jobs. Saturday might be a potentially more convenient day for more people to come out. 8 to 8.
When you mentioned other towns only having one location, what towns are you talking about?
I believe it's Brookfield, Ridgefield, and I can't remember the rest off the top of my name. I asked around other registrar voters.
Westport, I think, they all have it on
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah,
Weston, A lot of towns do it.
We didn't put it in here because we kind of talked about that like after we wrote the resolution. But that's something also that we can consider to help improve turnout in general, would be that, so. Any questions?
I'm also thinking now, a Saturday, because we have property owners who are allowed to vote in a referendum,
Sure.
who are not allowed to vote general election.
Sure, yeah.
So moving it to a Saturday is a good consideration.
We have that's a lot of people last year, that was a big question.
Yeah,
We have a lot of people who aren't Americans, but have lived here for decades and own property, or they live in New York and they own property, and we can't change the American one because that's like in the state side of it. But they were pretty mad. Like, I lived in this town for 20 years, and you know, I was like, I want to, you know, vote on my property taxes.
Yes. Have you considered consolidating Northville and Scotticoke, and that you say?
Potentially, once the time cycle comes up for us, because that's a whole state thing that we have to do. That's a state redistricting, just like we did in 2022. We can't change the polling locations for state-related elections. Only the referendum we can do through the town council.
Okay, so what you're saying, general election
Yeah.
is going
Where
to
the
be.
state isn't heavily involved in that.
Okay.
Stay
And
the
we
same.
can only do it when there's
So what would this
10
affect?
years, every 10 years.
just referendum.
Just a referendum?
Yeah.
Referendum's all we can move right now.
I
yeah.
thought I read it that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can move, we should move Oddfellows back to Pettibone. That should have been moved back there like 2017 or something. Like, I think it was closed in, 2014 or something is when they closed it down. That could be moved back there, you know, with very minimal effort because it's so close and that's where the polling location used to be. But we can't do it until the next redistricting thing happens, which is like 8 years or something from now. So, but yes, we would love to move Oddfellows back because that's our most expensive polling location.
I know one of the questions that was brought to my office was, right now, we have a very good time frame of people coming in to vote takes just a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So now by going into this, what, have you done any kind of analysis as to
Same
what?
thing.
Well, the new machines are much faster than the old ones, like across the board. We thought they might be a little bit slower because the state said they might be a little bit slower, but they definitely were not. We're going to also have 4 machines set up at the referendum to handle any extra volume there might be. They won't be split out by districts. Everyone's just going to pop it into a machine.
Or if there's
So-
a lot of people, we can put all machines to work, all 8 of them.
Yeah, we can technically drag the machines from all the districts. Yeah, we just happen to have 4 machines here that we can just bring down there when needed.
Cost wise, it makes a lot of sense, but
Yeah.
convenience, I don't know.
Does anybody have any other?
I'm just
questions?
saying we should try it. Does it work?
Let the public
I
decide.
personally
Let
think
the
we should
public
let the,
decide,
we should
yeah.
have a public meeting
Yeah.
and let the taxpayers come and tell us what they
Mhm.
think. That'd be my.
Yeah, we're trying to do it this early because we want to have time, if it passes, to have time to really promote it. Like for us, it would be through direct mailing to the registered voters, like active voters would all get a letter, probably a postcard. Mayor Bass would push it online and all the social media places, so
Randy,
as
do
far
we-
as in advance.
do we need
We
to
didn't do that during the redistricting, we did a bad job of that.
Randy, to do a public meeting, not a public hearing,
Yeah, it's public
do a
meeting, yeah.
public meeting, do we need to have an act and a motion in a second, or can we just do a public meeting
Yeah.
just by talking about it tonight?
If the town council's gonna attend, it's gotta be a warned meeting, and you're gonna have to announce it essentially as a public meeting or input, more in the nature of a workshop.
Yep.
But if the town council or any agency is gonna be in attendance by way of a quorum,
Right.
Except this,
then you're gonna have to warn it and notice it.
So this would be something that if we can have a special meeting, if we
Sure.
get everybody together, just
Yeah.
put that on the agenda
Sure.
as for a.
And we can
public-
present more materials and
Public
stuff
information.
before that
Okay.
even, so,
Thanks.
yeah, welcome.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. We have the grants specialist who was gonna, ask to accept a $5,000 grant from the DOT, and this is to hold a New Milford Bike Day. So we were very successful with, the bike program from Walmart, and, with the Connecticut DOT, we're also gonna talk about bike safety. So we'll have that at the next, meeting. Mayor's comments on there again. I was gonna talk about events, but watch the thing on Fridays, for the events that we have. The next is discussion of possible action, which we can't do on the redistricting of the commercial bus traffic. We did hold our public hearing, so that's now closed. So I will put this on the agenda, the next agenda for completion. And then the next is the B City Subcommittee, continues to be a subcommittee. They want to be moved under a permanent commission, so they don't have to keep re-upping, so they would be a subcommittee of a permanent committee, so could go under economic development. And just real quick, an update on economic development for the town of New Milford. Currently, the state unemployment figure is at 3.4%. Here in New Milford, we are at 3.1%. We have a total population of 15,836. The state says is our employment pool. Unemployed in New Milford, we don't want to have anyone unemployed, but that's at 483 people. Basic economists will tell you at 3.1%, you're pretty much at full employment, but we want to do whatever we can to be helpful to get those 483 people jobs. Want to talk about a couple of new businesses. First, Mohawk Barrel Company. They are on 280 Kent Road, Route 7. And what they do is they purchase the old wine and whiskey barrels, and those are for decorative. They cut them in half, or you can make planters out of them. You can put them in front of your porches. Also has a lot of knickknacks there as well. So if you get a chance, go down and see that new business, and congratulations. Actually, it's not even new, it's expanded. They were in the South End Plaza and now have moved to 280 Kent Road to expand. On 7 Pickett District Road, which is kind of almost across the street from Pettibone, the old orthodontist place, is going to be the new home of Murphy's Heating and Cooling Company. They're expanding and growing. Their headquarters is right on South Main. They're going to move over to that area. And right next to it, just as an update, All Town Market is continuing getting their permits and everything in place for their expansion at the corner there, where they're going to take down that building, put in an All Town Market, increase the diesel pumps there as well. And that's going to take the 2 lots that are next to the auto parts store and the corner and expand all that as well. Here on the corner of Route 7 and Bridge Street, right at the corner, is going to be Zeller Tire is going to be moving to that location there. So they're working on getting their permits and everything as well. As far as Sullivan Farm, we had approved funding for the agro-tourism building that will be there, the agro-educational building. They were going to put it where the old barn was, Mayor, the brown barn. They have moved that to a better location, which was of the advice of zoning, to where it's more in front of where the old hoop stand is. They're going to put it there. So they're working through the permitting process there, and that, for everyone's remembrance, there's going to be educational classrooms in there. There's going to be a commercial kitchen that'll be put in there so that farmers can, if they want to do jams or do their own products, can go in and use that as well. And speak with Mark Mankin. We're hoping that by the spring that will be up and going. So I'll give you an update when that happens as well. And next at our first September meeting, we're kind of cleaning up and refreshing the New Milford Now site, which is our tourism and our community site, and our New Milford Economic Development website. We're refreshing that one as well, and we'll be bringing that to you at our first September meeting. And That's what I got. Any questions? Mayor? All right.
You wanna move to adjourn?
You can't,
Second.
you can't vote on it.
Yeah, can't vote on it.
They're good forever, but
Let's get on.
Graham, do it. Second.
Thank you, everybody, and I'll email the council with, the full one, looking at,
I can't.
yeah, a special meeting.